Okay, we now have Kevin Brady. He's the ranking member on the House Ways and Means Committee. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us early in the morning.
Thank you, Tony. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. We're talking about this nexus between these historic the rise in prices. Haven't seen this in 40 years, 7.5% inflation rate, and public policy. Nancy Pelosi yesterday on This Week with George Stephanopoulos says that, look, the Build Back Better program is not going to fuel this inflation. It's going to do the exact opposite. What do you say to that?
I think that's nonsense. In fact, more and more economists are finally admitting inflation occurred in America after that nearly $2 trillion COVID stimulus, as they called it, in March. Now we're seeing record inflation in the policies that they put in place, including, this new child tax credit that used to be, focused on helping people return to work as well as keeping more of their money to raise their children, was no longer required to work. And so we saw a lot of Americans stay home. We're seeing the same thing with the ACA subsidies, the Affordable Care Act subsidies are so lavish, about 500,000 people get better health care jobless than they do returning to work. And so these are, to your point, these are economic policies that have driven inflation to the highest in 40 years. But one thing that worries me is that I think we're either on the verge of or in a wage price spiral, which we haven't seen in a long time, but it's pretty common sense. Paychecks go up, so prices go up, which drives paychecks up and drives prices up. And it is something no country wants to have happen, because it ends very badly certainly for workers, but for the U.S. economy as well. And right now, I noticed Friday, Tony, consumer sentiment is at the lowest in a decade. I think 2 out of 3 Americans don't think their paycheck's going to keep up with inflation for the next 3 to 5 years. And so people who think, again, that this is all transitory, that it doesn't really matter, people are feeling it. They believe it. And one of the surveys on Friday from the University of Michigan said basically people have lost confidence in the economic policies of this president, and they believe it's hurting them.
Hey, remember to click the subscribe button right here on the screen, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when new content is added. And more importantly than anything, you don't want to miss all 3 live hours of Financial Issues every day from 9 to noon. And you can watch it on FISM.tv. That's FISM.tv.